Hello, stamping friends. I'm Lorraine Sish from stampwithlorraine.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the U.S. in Maryland, and I have not posted for a little while, and I apologize for that. I posted to YouTube here, but I'm back, and I'm going to be a little bit more regular with getting my videos up here, because I know a lot of you have enjoyed them and look forward to them before. So here we go. I am going to show you today a really fun and quick, easy card for using your scraps, okay? It's always fun to use up scraps. We always have them laying around, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do with a little 1-inch strip? Well, I'm going to give you some ideas for that, and we're going to make a variety of cards with a little bit different looks with it, but the same layout. So gather up your 1-inch strips. You need about 1 inch by 5 inches. They could be a little less, but as long as that's all consistent, it's probably going to work out fine. So anyway, look at the materials, your supplies in the description down below. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and like it, and please hit subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos here. So let's get started. Today, I'm going to show you a way to use up your 1-inch scraps. They should be at least about 5 inches long. It's not critical because we're going to be ending up trimming the ends of those anyway. What I'm using for my scraps are pieces from the Zoo Review designer paper. That's the one with the cute little animals on them doing different things. Some are in the woods doing nature things. Some are doing some fun things like on vehicles. All the cute little animals and their wheels. Some are dancing. I know that's upside down. Here we go. Some are playing music. Some are doing other things around the house, like cooking and yoga and crafts. So it's really, really cute, those cute little animals. A lot of black and white, a lot of outline with just little subtle pieces of color. But the reverse of these are just black and white. You have some that are the spotted. You have some, oh, there's the music one. Look how cute that is. You have some that are more black than white. Some that are just lines, a lot of graphic kind of things. So I had some scraps that I thought I would use for this card. So I am using the reverse side of the ones with the animals. So to have a little bit of a graphic look, I love black and white with a touch of color. So that's kind of what we're doing today. So what you need for your supplies are 6 1-inch strips by about 5 for a vertical orientation. 3 should be one design, and the other 3 should be a different design. I guess it's possible to have 2 and 2 and 2, but you can play around with that. And also, if you had strips that are 3/4, you can play around with that. You'll just need more to fill up your card. All right, then you need a card base. I'm using Sweet Sorbet. I already put my inside in here, so that's what your 5 1/4 by 4 is, one of those. Then you need another same size of white that we're going to build our strips on, and that's going to go on the card front with a little bit of a border. Then you need some kind of a tag, a label punch, a tag of some sort that's going to go in the middle there. Now I'm using Nested Elements, and this is, Nested Essentials. I'm sorry, Nested Essentials. And that's on page 165 of the annual catalog. It gives you all these obviously nested shapes that are really fun. You have banner, you have square rectangles with rounded edges, and you have these neat shapes down here as well. All right, so I'm using the largest and the second largest for the smaller one is white, of course, and the bigger one black, because this is mostly white in the background. I didn't want to just use white on there because it wouldn't show up so well. So I decided to layer them. And so that's going to show up nicely. So I'm just going to put that aside for a moment, and we're going to build our strips onto this piece of 4 by 5 1/4 cardstock. Now here's where your silicone mat comes in handy because it will get a little sticky, but the silicone mat, no glue will stick to it and it won't get on your paper. That makes your paper sticky. In fact, here is a little glue that I did get on there. I'm going to try to get that off with my adhesive eraser, because sometimes your projects then stick to that. You don't want that to happen. All right, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to take my white piece and we are going to arrange these on a diagonal, alternating the patterns. Now I'm going to start, well, let me decide my order. It doesn't really matter too much as long as you're alternating. And you really can do any angle you like, but I find for this to fit properly, I'm going to start with making sure I cover this corner here, and I'm going to angle my left side, just covering that corner, and then I'm going to bring this top side of the strip just to cover the bottom corner. Okay, so that's going to give me that angle to start with. And then from there, we're just going to build our strips going up. Okay, so the way I like to do this is, there's several ways you can do this, but you do want to make sure your strips are totally glued down. And I love, a lot of people forget about using the other end of the multi-purpose glue. Some people don't even realize it's there. They just are using the top part, which is great. But remember, the other side has one of those chisel edge applicator pieces there that makes it easy to spread your glue across a flat surface, a wider surface. So I'm going to start by adding my glue there. Actually, I need a little bit more light, don't I? Okay, that should help. All right. Yeah, I'll do that. All right, so this way I could squeeze a little glue. It comes out of a little dot right in the middle, and then I could spread it to make sure I get full coverage there. Now, see, this is why it's good to have that silicone mat, because it doesn't matter if I go off the paper. So I'm going to start just by covering the left corner here with the bottom edge, and the other side covering the top edge there. All right, so like I said, it doesn't really matter what angle you do, just start it out and then we can build on that. So like I said, with this chisel edge, you can get that glue right to the edge of the next paper. I'm going to alternate with my flower pattern here. Just going to put it right up against, making sure I extend past the white that's underneath. And I like the glue because I will get that full coverage. If you use a seal or other kind of applicator, you might miss an edge of one of the papers and it might flip up a little bit. You don't really want that to happen. And I like doing it this way also because putting the glue on the white piece, because then if I put it all across the back, then all of these in the back are going to have that glue on there, which makes it difficult later for trimming. Even though I have specific scissors just for sticky things in my glue, it saves me from cleaning my scissors too often. All right, and then now that should work out pretty evenly up at the top by covering the rest. If you end up short at the top there, don't worry about it. After we trim it, you can always just cut that little piece off with your trimmer. All right, so let me add my glue. Okay. All right, so I just butted them right up against each other. This is where a random pattern works best because if you had something that had a definite up and down, it's now going to be on an angle. If it's not quite so noticeable that it's a certain direction, then it's not such a big deal, but you can kind of lay it out and see. I mean, once in a while, a little bit of the glue does seep through on me, so I use my adhesive eraser. Stampin' Up! Used to sell these, but not anymore, but you can find them most places. I'm sure Amazon has them. Some people say the dollar store has them. Craft stores will have them. So it lasts forever. Okay, you just kind of pick off the little glue bits and then you can keep using it. I've had that one for years and years and years. All right, so now we're just going to trim off the back sides. All right, and because I put the glue on my white cardstock, there's no extra glue over here, which is going to make it easier for cutting. It's not going to be quite so sticky. And this stuff is not really salvageable, but you can see perhaps that, see that the glue that's on here, that's now just tacky. I can just rub that off and no glue will permanently stick to that. So just brush that off into the garbage. And occasionally I'll actually clean it with under the water in the sink or with a wipe, something like that. So, okay, so there's our layer for our card base. I'm going to put that on my sweet sorbet like that. Look how cute. And if it matters to you which pattern is on top or bottom, you have the option of flipping it around, whichever way you like best. Really isn't going to matter with these patterns anyway. Some ways, sometimes just the way you cut that strip, you might like a particular one on top. Okay. Here we go. Oh, a little sticky up there. Must have been from my fingers. Okay, with these adhesive erasers, don't go back and forth and back and forth. What you want to do is it just pulls the adhesive. So go in one direction, just keep pulling it. It's going to sort of ball it up a little bit, and then it gets off it can be pulled off your paper. It sticks onto this. So don't use it like a regular eraser where you go back and forth, because you're just going to be smudging it one way, then the other. Okay. Well, I made a little mess with that. It was on my fingers. That was the problem. Okay. There we go. Right now we can create our label. And like I said, I was using the Nested Essentials, the largest one for the black, the next largest for the white. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment from Playing in the Rain. Oh, happy day. I want something bright and cheery. I love fall. We're doing a lot of fall colors, but sometimes you need a break. You need something different. So I'm going to stamp Oh Happy Day, and I'm going to use the little flowers because I think that's really cute. I'm going to start my flowers down at the bottom of that label because I want to save the top for a bow. So I'll put my flowers down here first, like that. And then I'll do my sentiment. Oh, happy day. Okay. Ta-da. That leaves me a little area there to put my bow. Now I'm going to color those because it is a lot of black and white here. I have the sweet sorbet. I'm going to brighten it up with some colors. Now, of course, there isn't a whole lot to color here, but just going to be that little pop of color. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends. I'm going to use a light sweet sorbet for the flowers. Oh, first I'm going to do the middle in yellow. Daffodil Delight. Okay, I want to do the lighter colors first because if I went over that with sweet sorbet and the yellow hit it, I might get sorbet on my Daffodil Delight. Don't want that to happen. Just that little pop of yellow, little touch in there. And then that brush tip there really allows you to get right into those tiny flower petals. And you know what? Don't worry if you miss a little spot because it just will look like some highlights. All right, I wouldn't worry. Better to do a little less than to go over and be messy with it. That's what I say. Okay. And we'll bring in Parakeet Party for the leaves. Nice, bright, fun green. Okay, now even though the stems aren't necessarily made for coloring in, I'm just going to go over them with the firm point here, the felt tip, just to bring in like a little touch of green on there. It gives just like a little glow. This brings on a little bit more color. And we'll layer that on. And I just love how that pops, the black and white with that little touch of color. Okay, then we're going to put dimensionals on the back. I'm going to use black ones. The black dimensionals come in a package of the regular and the mini. So you get both. It's just nice. I could have used white here. That's okay, but I don't use black quite as much, so I have them. May as well use them on this. And we're going to put that right in the middle. And then I was thinking, what kind of ribbon might I want on here? I don't have a sweet sorbet ribbon, but if I wanted to, I could, with my blends, go over a lighter or a white ribbon, and that could be fun. I didn't necessarily have a size ribbon that I wanted to do that with, but just to let you know, if you do have something like the white crinkle ribbon that we used to have, that could be nice. But then I'm going to bring in the black and white gingham. That's one of my favorites, and it ties in with the black and white theme here. If you wanted to, like I said, here you can even color over that. I just took my blends and went over that because I thought, well, maybe I want that. But I said, nah, I didn't really want that. So that was just my little test. I cut that off. Just going to make a bow like this. In the air, I call it my bunny ears method. Make 2 loops and then crisscross them and tuck one end in. And just adjust it to the size you want. Oh, there we go. All right, very sweet, right? Let me trim my ends. And then we'll put that right there with glue dots. I think there's enough room for me to squeeze 2 on here just to make sure it holds. One right next to the other. Just roll back the tape and stick your bow to the glue dot to pull it up. And we'll stick it right on there. I think that side is a little long. There we go, a little haircut. There we go. So isn't that cute? Okay, using up your scraps. Now here's some other ideas that I did using the banner die from the Nested Essentials. I did this one with the Let's Go Fishing Designer Series paper. And I fussy cut some of the fish from that Designer Series paper and just tied a twine around the top. I actually wrapped it around instead of just sticking it to the top like this one. All right. So see this one, it does have stripes or lines to it, but it's okay if it's going on an angle. It looks okay with that. All right, then the one other one that I did has a little bit different vibe to it also, is using the Fresh as a Daisy paper on wild wheat. This one, by the way, was Night and Navy. Okay, wild wheat. And this tag came from, and the sentiment also came from Something Fancy. The stamp set has just sentiments to it, and the dies have all these neat little tags. So you have two sizes of this tag that I used on here. You can't really see the inside. There you go. You can see the hole there a little bit. I just glued that on there. I didn't really tie it through the hole of the tag. But what's neat is you can add this little piece here. I ran it with the tag. At the same time, I die cut it and it punched that little hole out up there. So if you wanted to really just wrap a ribbon around there and make it into an actual tag, you can. And it also comes with these other little elements that will pop out those, like little tulip and the leaves, and then just the leaves. You have a hexagon shape, which is nice. You have a little strip with the angle cuts and other things there that you can match up these sentiments to. All right, so that's Something Fancy, and that's on page 34 of the annual catalog. Okay, this is a 2023 to 24 annual catalog, in case this video goes longer than that. So that's those are the three different elements. This was die cut from the Cheerful Daisy dies that coordinate with the stamp set, and I just already had these cut in my set. I have a little envelope that I keep extra die cuts in there. So these were actually leftovers from something else. I used my blending brush. I used my mini one to color over that daisy in crushed curry, because that's the color that's in here, but I just did it lightly. So you can see some of the edges show a little bit darker and some of the insides are lighter. And I did the same thing with the center of that one. Now, if you notice, like I didn't want just white on here because it really wasn't going to show up. But if you look carefully, there is little bits of gray streaks in those flowers there. So I took my, actually, I think it was Pebble Path. I took a little Pebble Path and I brushed a little bit of Pebble Path on there just so it stands out against the white and it kind of matches the other flowers that are there. For the insides, I took my, again, Stampin' Blends, and some of you might not realize, but we have a set of blends that are called Natural Tones. There are actually two more here. There are 10 altogether. And two of the darkest come together, then the medium dark, and then so on down the line. They're actually numbered. So the darkest one is number 100, and the next one is 200 and 3 and 4 and 5, all the way up to 1,000, actually 1,000. So it's natural blends to be like skin tones. If you do use skin tones, you know, if you're coloring things that have people on them, and you want to use the skin tones, like I said, you can get them in pairs of different shades. But that's what I used on here because the color in here is early espresso. We don't have blends for that. And I didn't want to just use a marker because I didn't want it to look quite so stark. So I used my darkest my 100 natural tones to do the insides there to kind of match the pattern that's in here. And I just dotted it for the center of that flower because that's kind of what it's like up here. So just kind of mimicking that. Then after I did that, it was really kind of dark. I wanted it a little more subtle. So then I took my color lifter. This is sold individually. And what it does is it lifts some of the color. So it's not going to be quite as dark. So when you, let me get a scrap paper here. It's good if you want to lighten a color or add a little highlight to something. I'm just going to do a little squiggle here all the way down, and you can see different things that we can do with it. And it's also good if you have a little boo-boo. If you go out of the lines a little bit, it's not necessarily going to erase everything, but it will lighten it to the point where if it's just a little boo-boo, it will hide it and it won't be seen quite so bad. So I'm going to kind of show you that just like this little edge here. I'm just going to go across there, and now that is kind of dark. So for it to, kind of totally go away is kind of asking a lot, but you have to give it a little time. It will eventually kind of fade away. Let me go a little further so you could see kind of the effect of it. Just as it dries, it kind of lightens up a little bit. Now, I don't know if you could see that. Yeah, there you go. You see how it got a little lighter right here? So if you like kind of went out of the lines a little bit, you can kind of soften the look of that. It can go away a little bit. All right, so the other thing, if you just wanted to lighten the color, right, let me get that in the proper lighting. And that's what I did on the flowers. I just kind of did this tone, but then I went over it to lighten it. See how it like lightens up that color there. And then you just kind of wipe your brush clean on your paper. But then also, if you wanted to just add, just a little highlights to something that looks, like the sun shining on there, or a little bit more variegated look, you can do that. See how it lightened that up a little bit? Okay, so this works with any color. So those are the kind of three things that you can do with your color lifter. It's not an actual eraser, perfect, but it is a way to use it there. Okay. Let me put my top back on here. So those are the 3 different cards. I hope you like those, and I hope you try some yourself. So there we go, Zany Zoo and Playing in the Rain stamp set. Let's Go Fishing Designer Series paper. Oh, that sentiment came from stamp set called Beside Me, which is this kind of like a father and the kids kind of a set. So Celebrating You Today, I thought worked nicely on there. Nice masculine card. All right, and then here's the Fresh as a Daisy, Cheerful Daisies Dies, Wild Wheat ribbon and cardstock, and the sentiment from Something Fancy. All right, so the natural tones blends are on page 136 in the annual catalog. They are not on the same page as all the other blends and all the other colors. So you have to turn a few more pages to find those on page 136. But there you go. There are the 3 cards. Thanks again for watching. I hope you try some on your own too. Okay. Bye-bye. So there you go. There are our 3 cards with using 1-inch strips. And I want you to go over and look through your scraps or create new ones. So sometimes I have to cut new paper too, forget those 1-inch strips. But anyway, just look through and see what you have, use them up, and then go over to my Facebook page and take a look at some of the others that I've created, and feel free to post your own in the comments to share your version of this card. Also, make sure to check out my blog at stampwithlorraine.com, and once you're there, you can sign up for my newsletter. So if you haven't done that yet, please do. That way you get to stay informed of all the Stampin' Up! News and the offers that are coming up. This is December 2023 right now. Well, just about December. I'm sorry, it's the end of November. So just about December 2023. And in January 24 comes some exciting times, a new mini catalog, celebrations, and you get a lot of fun free things with your order, certain qualifying orders. So make sure you come back and check with that. Right now, there are sale items going on for the fall mini catalog. So some things are up to 60% off. Check that out. You can go to my online store. I'll add that right down below here. And you can check out all the clearance, all the things that are on sale. You can see some of the other specials that are coming up. All right, so anyway, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and stay tuned. I'll be back again soon. Bye-bye now.